Are you kidding me right now? The wrestling world is exploding, and if you're not talking about what just happened at Saturday night's main event, then you're living under a rock. Rhea Ripley just did the impossible. She took down the unstoppable force that is Nia Jax and retained her Women's World Championship in what might be the most controversial finish we've seen all year. But here's what's got everyone's blood boiling. The way she won has the entire WWE Universe divided, and trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to have strong opinions about whether justice was served or if we just witnessed highway robbery. Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake your understanding of everything you thought you knew about women's wrestling in WWE. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax wasn't just a match. It was a statement, a declaration of war, and possibly the most brutal display of championship desperation we've ever witnessed. The Queen of Hearts went into this match knowing she was facing her biggest threat yet, and what she did to survive will have you questioning everything about what it means to be a fighting champion. But first, let me paint you the picture of just how insane this situation really is. For months, we've watched Nia Jax bulldoze through the women's division like a human wrecking ball. She's been unstoppable, leaving a trail of destruction that includes some of the most beloved superstars in the company. Bayley, demolished. Naomi, crushed. Tiffany Stratton, nearly hospitalized. The list goes on, and with each victory, Nia's confidence grew while fear crept into the hearts of every woman in that locker room. Then came the announcement that sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. Nia Jax had earned her shot at Rhea Ripley's Women's World Championship. The wrestling community went ballistic. Social media erupted with debates about whether Mommy could survive the onslaught of the irresistible force. Vegas oddsmakers had Nia as the favorite, something that hadn't happened to Rhea since her dominant reign began. Even hardcore Rhea Ripley fans started showing doubt, and you could feel the tension building like a powder keg ready to explode. The build-up to this match was electric with controversy. Remember that heated confrontation on Monday Night Raw where Nia literally picked up Rhea and threw her through the announcer's table like she was a rag doll? The crowd went silent. You could hear a pin drop in that arena because everyone knew they had just witnessed a preview of what could happen at Saturday night's main event. Rhea's face after that attack told the entire story. For the first time in months, Mommy looked genuinely concerned about an opponent. But here's where things get really interesting, and this is what's got the internet in an absolute frenzy right now. The week leading up to the match, there were whispers backstage, and I mean whispers that would make your skin crawl. Sources were telling anyone who would listen that WWE management was having serious discussions about whether Rhea's reign had run its course. Can you believe that? After everything she's accomplished, after the way she's carried that division on her shoulders, they were actually considering ending her historic run. Those rumors reached Rhea's camp, and let me tell you something, that lit a fire under Mommy that we've never seen before. Her training intensity doubled, her promos became more vicious, and her interactions with other superstars turned ice cold. She wasn't just preparing for a match, she was preparing for a war where her legacy hung in the balance. The woman who had been confidently calling herself Mommy for months suddenly looked like she had everything to prove all over again. Now let's talk about the match itself, because what unfolded in that ring will be talked about for years to come. From the moment both women's music hit, you knew something special was about to happen. Nia Jax walked to that ring with the swagger of someone who had already won the match in her head. She had that look in her eyes, you know the one, that predatory stare that says she's about to end someone's career. The crowd's reaction was mixed, but you could feel the anticipation crackling through the air like electricity. Then Rhea's music hit, and the place exploded. But even in that moment of triumph, you could see something different in Mammy's demeanor. Gone was the cocky confidence we'd grown accustomed to. In its place was the focused intensity of a champion who knew she was walking into the fight of her life. Her entrance, usually filled with swagger and attitude, felt more like a warrior marching into battle, knowing that defeat meant the end of everything she'd worked for. The opening moments of this match were brutal in ways that made veteran wrestling fans cringe. Nia came out swinging like a woman possessed, using her size and power advantage to immediately put Rhea on the defensive. That first collision between these two powerhouses sent shockwaves through the arena, literally. The ring posts shook, the barricade rattled, and you could feel the impact in your chest if you were sitting in the first few rows. What followed was 15 minutes of the most intense back-and-forth action you'll see all year. Nia dominated the early going, using her devastating power moves to systematically break down Rhea's defenses. Every Samoan drop felt like it could end the match. Every leg drop had the crowd holding their breath. There were moments where it looked like Rhea was completely finished, where even her most loyal fans started preparing for the inevitable title change. But here's what separates champions from pretenders: Rhea Ripley doesn't know how to quit. Just when it looked like Nia had her beat, Mommy would find another gear, another burst of energy that defied logic. Her comeback sequences were phenomenal, stringing together combinations of strikes, submissions, and high-impact moves that had the crowd on their feet screaming. The woman was literally fighting for her life out there, and every single person in that arena could feel the desperation and determination radiating from her. The turning point of the match came in a moment that will be replayed thousands of times across social media. Nia had Rhea set up for what looked like a match-ending annihilator, the move that has put away countless opponents throughout her career. The crowd was on its feet, cameras were flashing, and you could feel the championship reign coming to an end. But then, in a display of strength that defied physics and logic, Rhea somehow reversed the move mid-execution, turning it into a devastating riptide that shook the entire arena. The crowd's reaction was deafening. People were jumping out of their seats, drinks were flying everywhere, and the noise level reached levels that probably violated several city ordinances. But even in that moment of triumph, you could tell that both women were running on fumes. This wasn't just a wrestling match anymore, it had become a test of wills, a battle between two warriors who refused to back down. What happened next is what's got everyone talking, and I guarantee you're going to have strong feelings about this. With both women down and the referee counting, the match seemed destined for a double countout or no contest. But then, just as the count reached 8, both superstars struggled to their feet, staring each other down with a mixture of respect and pure hatred that you rarely see in professional wrestling. The final sequence of this match was poetry in motion, if poetry involved two incredibly strong women trying to destroy each other. Nia went for another power move, but Rhea countered with a series of devastating strikes that wobbled the irresistible force for the first time all night. The crowd sensed blood in the water, and their energy seemed to transfer directly into Rhea's performance. She was moving with a fluidity and precision that seemed impossible given the punishment she'd absorbed throughout the match. But here's where the controversy begins, and this is what's got the internet absolutely losing its mind right now. In the final moments of the match, as Nia was setting up for what many believed would be the match-winning move, there was a moment of confusion involving the referee. Now, I've watched this sequence dozens of times from every available angle, and I can tell you that what happened next will be debated until the end of time. Some fans are saying that Rhea got away with a low blow that the referee didn't see. Others claim that Nia's foot was clearly under the bottom rope during the final pin attempt. Still others are convinced that there was some kind of interference that the cameras didn't catch. The fact is, in that chaotic final minute, something happened that left both the live audience and viewers at home with more questions than answers. What we do know for certain is that Rhea Ripley managed to hit one final riptide, a move that came out of nowhere with such devastating impact that it left Nia Jax unconscious in the center of the ring. The pin attempt that followed seemed to last forever, with the referee's hand moving in slow motion as the crowd counted along. 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley had done it. She had retained her Women's World Championship against impossible odds. The aftermath of this match has been insane. Social media exploded with reactions that ranged from celebration to outrage. Rhea's supporters are calling it the greatest title defense in recent memory, a triumphant moment where skill and determination overcame brute force. But Nia's fans are crying foul, claiming that their favorite was robbed of her rightful championship reign by questionable officiating and possibly underhanded tactics. But let's talk about what this victory really means for Rhea Ripley's legacy, because the implications go far beyond just one match. By defeating Nia Jax, arguably the most physically dominant woman in WWE today, Rhea has silenced critics who questioned whether her championship reign was legitimate. She's proven that she can hang with anyone, regardless of size, strength, or reputation. This wasn't just a title defense, it was a statement that mommy isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The numbers don't lie, and they're absolutely staggering. This victory extends Rhea's championship reign to over 200 days, putting her in elite company among WWE's all-time great women's champions. She's now defeated every major threat in the women's division, from technical wrestlers like Bayley to powerhouses like Nia Jax. Her list of successful title defenses reads like a who's who of women's wrestling, and each victory has only added to her growing legend. But here's what's got me fired up, and this is where I need you to pay close attention. The way WWE has been booking Rhea Ripley's championship reign has been nothing short of masterful storytelling. They've managed to create a champion who feels both dominant and vulnerable, someone who wins her matches through a combination of skill, determination, and just enough controversy to keep things interesting. It's the kind of complex character work that makes great champions legendary. However, and this is huge, there are already rumors swirling about what's next for both women. Sources backstage are suggesting that this feud is far from over. Nia Jax was reportedly furious after the match, claiming that she was cheated out of her rightful championship. There's talk of a rematch clause, possible interference from other superstars, and even hints that this rivalry could evolve into something much bigger involving multiple members of the women's division. The ripple effects of this match are already being felt throughout WWE. Other women's champions on different brands are taking notice, realizing that Rhea Ripley has just set a new standard for what it means to be a fighting champion. The pressure is now on everyone else to step up their game, to bring that same level of intensity and storytelling to their own feuds and championship reigns. Speaking of championship reigns, let's put Rhea's accomplishment in historical perspective, because what she's doing right now is unprecedented in many ways. She's managed to maintain her championship during one of the most competitive eras in women's wrestling history. The depth of talent in WWE's women's division has never been stronger, with legitimate main event stars on every brand. For Rhea to not just survive but thrive in this environment speaks to her incredible ability and the respect she's earned from both fans and her peers. The technical aspects of this match deserve special recognition as well. Both women showcased improvements in their wrestling ability that frankly caught many observers off guard. Nia Jax, often criticized for being too dependent on power moves, displayed a technical prowess that reminded everyone why she's considered one of the most naturally gifted athletes in the company. Her chain wrestling sequences with Rhea were crisp, logical, and emotionally compelling in ways that elevated both performers. As for Rhea, this match proved that she's not just a great champion, she's becoming one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Her ability to adapt her style to match her opponent's strengths while highlighting her own has reached a level of sophistication that puts her in the conversation with legends like Trish Stratus, Lita, and Charlotte Flair. The woman is operating at a level that's simply breathtaking to watch. But let's address the elephant in the room, because I know this is what many of you are thinking about. The controversial finish to this match has created a divide in the WWE Universe that's threatening to tear the fanbase apart. On one side, you have fans who believe that great champions find ways to win even when the odds are stacked against them. They see Rhea's victory as proof of her championship-level instincts and her ability to rise to the occasion when it matters most. On the other side, you have fans who feel that Nia Jax was robbed of her moment, that the finish was questionable at best and possibly illegitimate at worst. They're calling for a rematch, an investigation, or even for the championship to be stripped and awarded to Nia. The passion on both sides of this debate is intense, and it's creating exactly the kind of water-cooler conversations that make professional wrestling so compelling. Here's my take, and I know this is going to ruffle some feathers. Great champions throughout history have always found ways to retain their titles in controversial circumstances. It's part of what separates good wrestlers from legendary ones. The ability to win when the stakes are highest, when the pressure is most intense, when everything seems to be going against you, that's what champions do. Rhea Ripley proved once again that she has that championship mentality. Does that mean the finish was perfect? No. Does it mean there aren't legitimate questions about what happened in those final moments? Absolutely not. But what it does mean is that we witnessed something special, something that will be talked about and debated for years to come. And isn't that what great wrestling is supposed to do? Create moments that matter, that make us feel something, that make us care enough to argue with strangers on the internet. The immediate aftermath of the match told its own story. Rhea Ripley collapsed in the center of the ring, clutching her championship like her life depended on it. The exhaustion on her face was real, the emotion was genuine, and for a brief moment, the character work dropped away to reveal the human being underneath who had just survived the fight of her life. It was a powerful reminder that behind all the storylines and manufactured drama, these are real athletes putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. Nia Jax's reaction was equally compelling. The frustration and anger were palpable as she slowly came to and realized what had happened. Her post-match actions, refusing medical attention, shoving away officials who tried to help her, and staring a hole through Rhea as she celebrated, told us everything we needed to know about where this story is heading next. This woman feels wronged, and that's going to make her incredibly dangerous in whatever comes next. The crowd's reaction throughout the entire post-match sequence was electric. You could feel the emotions shifting in real time as people processed what they had just witnessed. Some sections were celebrating wildly, others were booing with genuine anger, and many were simply sitting in stunned silence, trying to make sense of what had just happened. It was the kind of authentic, unscripted reaction that reminds you why live wrestling events are such a unique form of entertainment. Now let's talk about the broader implications of this result for WWE's women's division, because the consequences extend far beyond just these two superstars. Rhea's victory sends a clear message to every other woman in the company: the championship isn't changing hands easily. If someone as dominant and physically imposing as Nia Jax couldn't get the job done, what does that say about everyone else's chances? This creates a fascinating dynamic for future storylines. How do you book challengers for a champion who has now proven she can overcome seemingly impossible odds? How do you create believable threats when the previous, unstoppable force couldn't get the job done? These are the kinds of creative challenges that, when handled properly, led to the most compelling storylines in professional wrestling. There's also the question of Nia Jax's future, and this is where things get really interesting. A loss like this, especially one that feels controversial, can either break a character or transform them into something even more dangerous. Based on her post-match behavior and the rumors coming out of backstage, it seems like WWE is choosing the latter option. A Nia Jax who feels she was cheated, who believes she's the rightful champion, who's motivated by genuine anger and frustration. That's a terrifying prospect for everyone in the women's division. The technical execution of this match also deserves deeper analysis, because what these two women accomplished in that ring was nothing short of masterful. The pacing was perfect, building from a methodical opening to increasingly frantic exchanges that had the crowd on the edge of their seats. The psychology was sound, with each woman's character coming through in their offensive choices and selling. And the big spots were timed perfectly to maximize their emotional impact. One aspect that hasn't gotten enough attention is how this match showcased the evolution of women's wrestling in WWE. Gone are the days when women's matches were treated as bathroom breaks or afterthoughts. This match felt like a main event in every sense of the word. The crowd investment, the production values, the athletic performance, and the emotional stakes all combined to create something truly special. The international reaction to this match has been phenomenal as well. Social media trends from around the world showed that wrestling fans globally were captivated by this story. The hashtags related to both women were trending in multiple countries, and the reaction videos from international wrestling fans have been pouring in nonstop. It's a reminder that great wrestling transcends cultural and linguistic barriers. But let's get back to the controversy, because I know that's what's really eating at people. The replays and analysis videos are already flooding YouTube and social media, with fans freeze-framing every second of the final sequence trying to prove their point. Some are convinced they've found the smoking gun that proves Rhea cheated. Others claim they've identified the exact moment that proves Nia should have won. The truth is, we may never have a definitive answer, and maybe that's the point. Great wrestling matches often live in that gray area where the outcome feels both inevitable and shocking, deserved and controversial. The best storylines make us question our assumptions and challenge our loyalties. If this match has accomplished nothing else, it's certainly done that. Fans who were solidly in one camp before the match now find themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about both women. The business implications of this match result are staggering as well. Rhea Ripley's merchandise sales have reportedly skyrocketed since the match, with her championship replica belt selling out within hours of the event ending. But interestingly, Nia Jax's merchandise is also seeing a surge, suggesting that controversy can be just as good for business as clear-cut victories. Television ratings for the segments leading up to this match were through the roof, and early reports suggest that the match itself was one of the most watched women's wrestling segments in recent memory. From a pure business standpoint, this feud has been an absolute home run for WWE, creating exactly the kind of must-see television that keeps fans coming back week after week. The locker room reaction has been equally fascinating to observe. Reports suggest that both women received standing ovations from their peers backstage, a sign of respect that transcends any storyline controversies. Fellow wrestlers understand better than anyone what it takes to perform at that level under that kind of pressure, and the mutual respect between competitors is something that remains sacred in professional wrestling. Looking ahead, the possibilities for where this story goes next are endless and exciting. Does Nia invoke her rematch clause immediately, setting up an even more intense sequel? Do other women's champions from different brands take notice and start demanding interpromotional matches? Does this controversy lead to changes in how matches are officiated or reviewed? Every option presents intriguing storytelling opportunities. There's also the question of Rhea's next challenger after this saga concludes. Having defeated arguably the most physically dominant woman in the company, who else can present a credible threat? This is actually a great problem to have from a creative standpoint, as it forces writers to think outside the box and potentially elevate new stars or create unexpected storylines. The match's impact on both women's individual character development cannot be overstated. For Rhea, this victory represents a new level of validation and confidence. She's proven she can overcome any challenge, which should make her even more dangerous and compelling as a champion. For Nia, this loss could be the catalyst for a character transformation that makes her more interesting and complex than she's ever been. From a technical wrestling standpoint, both women raised their games to levels that surprised even longtime observers. The match featured innovative sequences, creative problem solving, and athletic displays that showcased why WWE's women's division is considered the strongest it's ever been. Future matches will inevitably be compared to this standard, which raises the bar for everyone involved. The cultural impact of this match also deserves recognition. In an era where representation and diverse storylines matter more than ever, seeing two incredibly strong, diverse women headline a major wrestling event sends a powerful message. Young fans watching saw role models who embody strength, determination, and resilience, values that extend far beyond the world of sports entertainment. But perhaps most importantly, this match reminded us why we love professional wrestling in the first place. It created genuine emotions, sparked passionate debates, and left us wanting more. It blurred the lines between reality and performance in ways that made everything feel more authentic and meaningful. These are the moments that create lifelong wrestling fans and remind casual viewers why this form of entertainment has endured for generations. The technical aspects of the broadcast also deserve praise, as the production team did an outstanding job of capturing every crucial moment and emotion. The camera work during the final sequence was particularly impressive, managing to show multiple angles without missing any of the action that's now being so heavily debated. The commentary team's reactions felt genuine and added to the drama without overshadowing the in-ring performance. As we wrap up this analysis, it's important to acknowledge that regardless of how you feel about the finish, we witnessed something special. Two world-class athletes performed at the highest level under immense pressure, creating a match that will be remembered and discussed for years to come. Whether you're Team Rhea or Team Nia, you have to respect the effort and skill that both women displayed. The future of WWE's women's division looks brighter than ever after this match. The standard has been set, the bar has been raised, and every other woman in the company now knows what they need to bring to compete at this level. That's going to benefit everyone: the performers, the fans, and the business as a whole. So what's your take on all of this? Do you think Rhea Ripley's victory was earned or stolen? Should Nia Jax get an immediate rematch? How do you see this story developing over the coming weeks and months? The comments section is going to be fire on this one, and I can't wait to see the passionate debates that are about to unfold. This is what wrestling is all about: creating moments that matter, performances that resonate, and stories that make us care enough to argue with strangers on the internet until 3 a.m. The legacy of this match is still being written, but one thing is certain: Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax will be remembered as one of the defining moments of this era in women's wrestling. Whether you loved it or hated it, you can't ignore it, and that's the mark of truly great sports entertainment. Now tell me in the comments, what did you think of this unbelievable match? Are you ready for the rematch? And who do you think can step up to challenge Mommy next? Let's keep this conversation going.